All right, in this video, we are going to talk about shape and we're going to talk about emphasis. To start with, we have a whole bunch of these shapes here, and we have these arrows that will tell me what type they are. So we have geometric, we have organic, we have amorphous. So if we're looking at here, geometric are going to be shapes that are man-made. So they have rules that people, as humanity, has come up with for how to make them. So a square, for instance, is a geometric shape, because it has to have 4 equal straight sides that meet at right angles that make 360 degrees total inside. We can also talk about like this star right here is another example of a geometric, and this circle right here is an example of geometric. Those are all man-made. There are rules for how to create those. We also, I forgot the triangle down here. Just kidding. Now we're ready for organic. Organic shapes, unlike geometric, these ones are found in nature. They're natural shapes. They're free-form shapes. So those are ones that don't have one defined definition. There's not, it doesn't have to have 3 sides. It doesn't have to have 4 sides. It doesn't have to have, it's more based on what you would find in nature. So it's going to be the outline of a living thing. So if I take over here this deer head, that was a living thing. So that silhouette there of a living thing, that's organic. The same thing is going to happen for this leaf right up here. That's also organic. Now we have this cloud here and this blob. Those are free form, but they're not based on living things. The cloud's not alive. Those are considered amorphous. That's our third category. Those are just blob-like, basically. Paint splatters, puddles, cloud shapes, those are all amorphous. It kind of sums up everything. If it's not geometric, it's not organic, it's going to be amorphous. So those were very nice, quick little shape ones. We do have 2 extra arrows over here that you don't need. You can delete them if you want, or just push them off to the side. It doesn't matter as long as you've labeled all of your shapes. And then you can move on to the emphasis slide. Feel free to pause me if I went too quickly. Okay, so now we're ready for emphasis. So emphasis, we have these 5 pictures right here. And emphasis is how you draw the attention of your viewer. So you make this artwork, you want them to look at a specific part of the artwork, the main theme, the main important details. That's what you want to draw everybody's attention to. So you can use any of these 5 techniques to do that, so to have everybody look at the part you want them to look at. The first one here says isolation. Well, isolation is when you put something by itself. So if I look at my pictures here, either this one or this one both have isolation. So I'm going to move this guy over here, and I'm actually going to flip my arrow backwards. I just clicked on this little guy here, and you flip it by dragging it. So here's isolation. Come here. I'm going to put it in between here because I'm not sure which one it is yet, because it could really be either. It exists for both, but I only have 4 or 5 arrows and 5 boxes, so it can't be both of them. The next one says unusual detail. Unusual just means something you're not expecting. It doesn't go with everything else that's around it. If I'm looking, well, here we've got lines and a circle. That doesn't really go together. And we've also got a random little smiley face in the middle of empty circles. So, like, I'm going to put this here. It's going to be one of those 2. Now, this one here says converging lines. Uh-oh. This is the only one that has lines. So it can't be unusual detail. This guy right here, he has to be unusual detail. Now this means this guy, whoop, make the arrow go the right way. That guy's converging lines. We have lines coming together at one point. Converging just means coming together. So this one over here, converging lines, comes together at a point. This one over here, unusual detail, one random little smiley face and a sea of blank stuff. That's unusual. That's weird. All right, the next one says placement. Placement, if you want to draw someone's attention to, you put it in the middle. So if I'm looking at all of these 3 that are left, there we go. This guy right up here. Again, drag my arrow so it's going the right direction. Placement, which means that this one here can be moved to isolation. He's all by himself in a corner. That makes sense for isolation, right? He doesn't have anyone to be friends with over here. He's kind of off all by his lonesome. Placement, you put it in the center. Isolation, you can put it anywhere, but generally off alone by itself is where it would be isolated. And that means that contrast, we've talked about contrast before, that's being opposite. Well, black is the opposite color to white, or opposite value, depending on how you want to look at it. So that one is going to be contrast. So that's how you create those different styles of emphasis. And those are our notes for today.